Hello and welcome. My name is Rachel O'Brien, and I'm going to be leading you through a 60-minute vinyasa class today with a focus on the shoulders and the wrists in the style of chromatic yoga. So, chromatic yoga is a style of yoga created by Matt Giordano, and this video is actually my final for this training in this style of yoga. And what chromatic means is it's nuanced, or it's a term that's used in art and music and to describe an in-between. Describing maybe in between two colors or in between two notes. It's the idea that there's not just Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, but there's baby blue, and there's navy blue, and there's seafoam green, and there's maroon, and all these other little hues within the chromatic color wheel. Now, what does this have to do with yoga? Well, chromatic yoga is a style of yoga where we have an aim to teach, right? Not just to instruct, but to teach about the body. And for you to walk away having learned something about your body through what we call a through line, which is something we'll repetitively visit throughout the class. And it's a style of yoga that teaches there's not just a right way to do the pose and a wrong way to do the pose. If you say, what's the right way to do a lunge? It might be, well, are you looking for flexibility today? Or are you looking for strength? And your answer lies in that. It's a way of critical thinking, really, which is something that I think our country and everybody needs so much more of right now. You see, the human mind, it likes to think in black and white. We like to think good or bad, right or wrong. They were a good person, they were a bad person, Democrat, Republican, and we're very divided, you know. It's easier for the mind to rest if I just tell you, this is right, this is wrong. But the truth is, it's usually something in between, because our experience, our life is chromatic, which is a beautiful thing, but it requires us to critically think, right? So what this training has done for me, I just have to say thank you to Matt and to Bree, my mentor in this program, because I came to this program in an in-between myself. I had just left my job as a career firefighter for 5 years. I was 29 years old, and I had taught yoga on the side for about 10 years of my life. And I had run my first teacher training, which is really what spiraled the desire to want to go full-time with yoga. I wasn't happy anymore in the fire department, and I was ready for a change. But something that held me back was I wanted to feel more confident in my understanding of anatomy. And I've always loved studying the physical body. I've always been an athlete. I've always, really been interested in it. But I would feel conflicted because I would go to one lineage of yoga and they would say, this is the way. And then I'd go to another lineage of yoga and they'd say, this is the way. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to relearn everything. And then I'd do CrossFit and get certified in that. And they'd be, this is the way. And it was just very confusing, right? And in my first teacher training that I ran and facilitated, I hired a physical therapist to do the anatomy portion for me. Shout out Carly, who I learned a ton from. And I loved working with her. But I knew that I wanted to teach that part, because it's something that I'm so passionate about. So I left my job in the fire department, and I knew I wanted to deepen my understanding before I opened my own studio. And I also didn't know where I wanted to live. It was a huge in-between in my life. Some call it a Saturn return, if you're into that kind of thing. And that's when I found the chromatic yoga online teacher training. There was this teacher in the area where I live in South Jersey, Southern New Jersey, and her name is Lori. And people always went to her to learn about the body, and she was so confident. She'd been teaching for over 30 years, and now she teaches at my studio. Shout out Lori. And I used to teach for her, and I wanted to feel like her. I wanted to have that confidence, that depth and understanding of the body. When she taught you yoga, she would make you feel something physically. And I knew how to make you feel something emotionally, but I wanted that. When I found Matt's training, I had taken a class with him at Wanderlust. I had followed him on Instagram for a while. And I thought, this is it. This is the training that's going to really help me to have that confidence to run my teacher trainings and teach the anatomy on my own, which I do now. I signed up for this training when I was 29 and I left the fire department, and I'm embarrassed to say how long it's taken me to get here. But what's been really great is I've been able to take it in little bits and pieces and integrate it into my teaching all along the way. And now I come to you on the other side. I've moved away, moved abroad, moved back, and opened my own studio space in Ocean City, New Jersey. And this training was there for me in the in-between. And now I'm on the other side in a way until there's another in-between, right? Because what I've realized is that life is just one giant in-between. We can't wait until we get to that place of like, when I get married, when I open the business, and then life will be good. Because our entire life is always shifting and changing. The yogis say, your life is just an in-between birth and death. And it's always going to be an in-between. So what I think we need to learn to do is to begin to be comfortable in the in-between, to embrace the space in between. And that's what chromatic yoga is. It's learning to be in the in-between, in that there's no right or wrong, but it's in the in-between that we can learn, and we can say, well, here are the drawbacks of this way, here are the benefits of this way, and then make an informed choice. There's a famous Austrian psychologist and researcher, Viktor Frankl, who has a quote that I've used in my yoga teaching for years and years. If you've taken my class before, you've probably heard this already, so I'm sorry. But he says, there's a space in between the stimulus and the response. In that space in between is our ability to choose our response. In that space, in that choice, lies our freedom and our growth. So on your mat today, as I guide you through this, I want you to let yourself be in the in-between. The yoga pose might be the stimulus, and then your response is to get out of it, or to stay in it, or to take the next option. Before you just rush to your response, get curious. How am I feeling in my body? What am I feeling? How would I describe it? Right? We never want to push past sharp pain. So if you feel a stimulus of discomfort, of fire, of heat, I want you to pause and say, what is it that I'm feeling? Is it a sharp pain or is it discomfort? If it's discomfort, maybe can I breathe into it? Can I hold for another breath? Rather than just feeling something and going, this is too much, I get out. If we can learn to be in the in-between, to breathe and hold and discern whether it is pain, whether it is dangerous, or whether we are okay and we need to be in this in-between. That's where we will develop strength. And then off of our mat, when we're in the in-between, we can find that pause too. So we're training our brain to be in discomfort, to be in the in-between, to be in the questioning, the learning. Because when we get off the mat, we find in-betweens all the time. And if I was, so quick to just find another job, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not a firefighter anymore, but I don't feel comfortable yet as a yoga teacher, let me just go to the next thing, instead of willing to be in the in-between and say, I am a good yoga teacher, but I want to sharpen my skills even more. You have to be a beginner at something or an intermediate before you can be a master of something, right? And I'm not saying that I'm a master of yoga teaching. I still have a lot to learn. But when you're on the mat and you're in these poses and I offer something, don't let your mind just go, I can't do that, and come out of it. Be willing to be in the in-between, to be in the learning of it. because there's a space in between can't and can. And in between is where the change happens. It's said that change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and beautiful in the end. So I invite you to come with me on this journey of in between. And I do have a playlist if you want to use it. I teach with music. I'm going to play it very quietly, so you shouldn't be able to hear it on here. So what I would do is pause this video and get out another browser or device, and there is a link to this Spotify playlist. If you're watching on Patreon or YouTube, it's in the description. If you're Matt or Bree, I sent it to you in the submission. And so it's a Spotify playlist that is called Chromatic Final Class. I'm going to have my computer here to watch the time. I am not much of an online teacher. I really do better in person, but I'm going to do my best and allow myself to be in the in-between, right? Yeah. So if you're using the playlist, you can press play on the first song, which is Healing Shores. And we will make our way onto our backs. When you come down onto your back, bring your feet together and your knees wide in Supta Baddha Konasana. We'll be using one block at least for class today, so make sure you have a block nearby, as well as a blanket. Once you have everything that you need, come down onto your spine. We'll start by taking a deep breath in through the nose. Pause, open up your mouth and exhale. Inhale, feel your rib cage expand. Pause, open up your mouth and sigh it out. And again, like that, inhale, rib cage expands, expand into your back body, into the back of the mat. Pause and exhale out the mouth, feeling your ribs knit down and in. Now, if you want to keep breathing like that because it feels good, feel free. Otherwise, you'll start to bring your breath in and out the nose. Now, in this position, the supine butterfly, you can soften the stretch by bringing your feet closer to the top of the mat. You can intensify it by bringing them closer to your body. You could also support a knee with a block if they're quite high. If there's sharp pain or it's too much, you can straighten out a leg. But this is your first opportunity to be in the in-between. And then from your Supta Baddha Konasana, you'll begin to bring your hands to the outsides of the thighs and press your knees together. Walk your feet hip-width distance apart. You can rest here, or if you'd like, you could take your feet wider, knees knock in, if that feels okay, for constructive rest pose. From here, you'll let your knees rock over to a comfortable side. Press yourself up into a seat. From here, we'll land with right shin in front of the left shin. Take a deep breath in and reach your hands up over your head. Breathe in through your nose. Open up your mouth and exhale. Inhale through the nose. Sigh it out, exhale. Again, deep breath in. Big sigh out. Bow your forehead into your fingertips here. Just taking a pause and sealing in your intention for your practice. Where could I be more in the in-between? Where could I allow for a chromatic mindset? And can I notice when I am quick to shift to black or white, right or wrong, good or bad? and allow for all the in-between of humans, of my experience. Releasing your intention that you set. From here, we'll start to bring the elbows out to the side in a goalpost position. We'll start by lifting the shoulders up a bit and then squeeze your elbows back towards one another. So this is retraction of the shoulder blades. Imagine like you're trying to squeeze a little pencil in between your shoulder blades and keep it there. Okay. Then from here, your elbows will come towards one another and you'll find space between your shoulder blades. Feel them separating from one another in your back body. This is called protraction of the shoulder blades. On your inhale, we retract, and you notice how you kind of just come into a little natural back bend, and your ribs probably flare out. Then exhale, as you bring the shoulder blades to separate, you're naturally in a little crunch, linking breath to movement. Inhale, retract. Exhale, protract. Find the space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, retract. Exhale, protract. Inhale, retract. On your exhale, press your hands forward like you're pushing a wall away from you and sink back. Find the space between your shoulder blades. Good. So we'll be revisiting this in today's class. Bring your hands back to heart center. We'll find a little wrist stretch here. Hands in line with your elbows, fingertips towards your chest, and then fingertips towards me or the camera. Fingertips towards your chest. Try to keep the palms together and in line with the elbows. One more like this. Keep your breath involved. Then this time you're going to bring the backs of your hands together. Do a little circle in one direction, circle in the other direction. Good. We'll bring the hands back behind you, fingertips towards your body. Puff the chest up. Find a stretch of the shoulders, chest, forearms, and wrists. And then switch the shins. So now left shin is in front of your right. From here, grab onto an imaginary paintbrush. And I want you to paint the number 8. And then paint it in the opposite direction if your mind can fathom that. Good. And then from here, let your left hand come out like you're pressing onto that wall. Find a little protraction of that left shoulder blade and bring your right hand to support the left elbow. I am not mirroring you. And from here, we're going to find a fist. Keep flexing at the wrist joint, which means you're pressing onto that wall, but then you bring a fist to the hand, keep your arm straight, and we're going to do 10 flashlights, fingertips just flicking water off of the fingertips, and then rest and shake it out. This time, right hand comes out like you're pressing onto that wall. Find a little separation of the shoulder blades. Left hand comes to support right elbow, make your fist. Flick the water off of the fingertips, like you're going as fast as you can, in, out, waking up those muscles of the hands, and shake it out. Good job. From here, we'll come into our all fours position. And you'll find tabletop, spreading through your hands. Allow your index fingers to point to the top of the mat. So today, we'll be doing a little bit of weight on the hands, which we always do in yoga. But specifically today, it's important for you to be spreading through the palms. So no like lazy fingers. We want to be spreading through the hands, activating the muscles of the hands so we take weight out of the wrist joint. Really spread through those fingers and then keep your arms straight. And we'll find again that retraction of the shoulder blades and then protraction of the shoulder blades. So keep your arms straight and drop shoulders towards one another. Then exhale, press them apart, find the space between. Inhale, shoulder blades drop towards one another. Exhale, find the space between. Inhale. Exhale, find the space between. Now we'll start to enlist the core as well. So there's an inhale, drop. Exhale, find the space between your shoulder blades, pull belly into spine. Inhale, shoulder blades drop. Maybe your gaze comes forward. Exhale, find the space between, belly button into spine, tuck your tailbone, look at your knee. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. One more inhale, belly drops. stretching front body. Exhale, round, stretching back body. Hold here. Press the mat away from you. Keep that space between your shoulder blades. Let your index finger be pointing to the top of the mat. Okay, so there's a slight external rotation of the wrist joint. And then come through to a neutral spine. We'll grab onto a block. Bring the block underneath your right hand. From here, you'll press into the block actively, which finds us in that little bit of protraction of the shoulder blade. By doing this, we're going to gain greater access to our core here in our bird dogs, because protraction of the shoulder blade being done by serratus anterior feeds into our core, like we talked about before. Our right leg will come back behind us. Left arm comes forward. From here, try to squeeze everything into your center line to find that balance. Press into the right hand. Stay active there. Exhale, elbow and knee come to meet. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow and knee come to meet. Round. Inhale to extend. Exhale, tuck and round. Press into that right hand. Inhale, extend. Linking breath and movement. One more. Exhale. This time, inhale, releasing knee and hand down. We'll slide the block underneath your left hand. Left hand presses actively into the block and you get a little bit higher. Notice how if you're not pressing into the block, you're about here. If you press into the block, you see how my shoulders, my body gets a couple inches away from the mat. So we find that lift up through the protraction of the shoulder blades. We'll reach right hand forward, left leg back, squeeze everything into your center line to find your balance. Inhale. Exhale, elbow and knee come to meet. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow and knee come to meet. Inhale, extend. Exhale, find the space between shoulder blades. Inhale, reach. Exhale, press down to get taller. And we'll release. Both hands come down. Good. Meeting in all fours position, tabletop. Curl the toes under, extend your right foot to the back of your mat. On your inhale breath, I want you to come up onto the big toe, lean forward. Exhale breath, drive back with the heel. So inhale breath, shoulders come forward of wrists, stretching in your wrists. Exhale, drive the heel back, stretching calf and Achilles. Inhale forward. Exhale back. This time inhale, come up onto just the big toe. Hold here, protract the shoulders, find the space between. Pull belly into spine and feel your right foot get light and then lift off of the floor. On your inhale breath, point through your toes. On your exhale breath, you'll start to bend in your elbows and squeeze the right glute to lift that foot high. Then press yourself back up into all fours. Round your back, find the space between the shoulder blades as your right knee comes to your right tricep. Point through your toes. Try to press actively and evenly into your hands. Find the space between the shoulders. Hold here. Maybe you can even hover the right knee just an inch off of the triceps. So rather than dumping all the weight on here, just trying to find a little inch or centimeter of space. Then we'll step the right foot in between the hands. On your inhale breath, rise into low lunge. Now maybe you're used to doing your low lunge like this, like a big, beautiful stretch here. And I love doing this one. It's a great big opening for my left hip flexor, and I love it. But for today, we're going to bring the shoulders to stay stacked over the hips and knit the ribs down, pulling belly into spine. From there, we'll press the hands forward and round the back, finding space between the shoulder blades, almost like you're doing a little crunch in your lunge. There's nothing wrong with this variation, right? If we were doing a back bend, today we would do that one. But because of where we're going today, we'll hold here. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your hands down to frame your front foot. Step yourself back into all fours. Lean forward, find a tuck of the tailbone, bend your elbows, and lower into your modified chaturanga. All the way down to the mat. Inhale, point through the toes, lift through the shoulders. Exhale, knees press down, and we find our child's pose. Forehead to the mat. Maybe flip the palms up to give them a bit of rest. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And notice already as we started to move a little bit, if you can find the space between the stimulus and the response. Notice where your mind went. Notice how you were responding. And try to employ the breath to help you find the space between. On your next inhale breath, we meet in all fours again. We're going to do some hand push-ups here. So spread through your hands and then lift the base of your palm up, but not all the way up here. Just the base, like just enough to where you could slide in a credit card or a driver's license underneath. So the very slightest bit, then you're going to drop the heel back down. So inhale, lift the base of your hands up. Drop the heel back down. Try to drop it slow. So lift the heel up, press into your fingers, drop the heel down. Continue to do that with your breath. When we press into the fingers in that way, we're activating our flexors of the wrist, because what we'll be doing today, the wrist is in deep extension, right? In yoga, in plank and crow and all these things. So we're trying to activate against that to protect the wrist. Now I want you to try to do that same thing from your downward facing dog, letting the hands come out in front of the shoulders a little bit, hips lift, heels of hands lift up, exhale, lower slowly. Lift up, exhale, lower slowly. Continue to press into your hands, letting your shoulders lift to your ears, finding a long line through your back, lift in the hands, exhale, lower. You can even test yourself here by bringing a little yoga mat or blanket behind your wrists and then trying not to let your forearms collapse into it. Rather, keeping your forearms off of the mat as you lift in the hands, slowly lower. One more, lift in the base of the hands, slowly lower. Good. From here, remove the mat if you were using it. We'll come into a plank position. From our plank, hold, spread through the hands. Begin to find retraction of the shoulder blades and then press into the mat. Lift yourself up and enter to protraction of the shoulder blades. Find that space between. From here, pull your belly button into spine. See if you can hug your hip bones in towards one another. I know you're starting to find some heat. I know your mind's starting to say, oh, I don't like Rachel. She's bad. She's a bad yoga teacher. I don't like this pose. I don't like this class. Remember that it can be something in between, right? You can like some parts and dislike some parts. Being in the in-between is uncomfortable. So rather, when your mind goes there, maybe you employ the mantra, hello strength, hello change, hello space between. From here, option to drop your knees or lean forward, bend your elbows, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, pull your chest through, find the back bend of your choice, shoulders down and away. Exhale, knees tap, then hips lift, downward facing dog. You could pedal out the heels for a moment if you like. Maybe nod the head yes or no. And then we'll bring our knees back down to the mat. From here, extend the left leg to the back of the mat. Ball of the foot stays on the ground. On your inhale breath, lean forward up onto the big toe. Exhale breath, drive the heel back. Inhale breath, up onto the big toe. Exhale breath, drive back. Keep moving through this, linking your breath and your movement. Then the next time you come in up on the big toe, hold here, just the big toe on the mat, no other toes. Maybe see if you can come onto your toenail, like you're leaning so far forward you would ruin your pedicure if you had one. Then press into your hands to round your back, find the space between your shoulder blades. Pull belly into spine and lift left foot off the ground. We'll keep pointing through the toes as you bend your elbows and lean forward. Squeeze your left glute to lift the foot up. Press yourself back up. Round your back, left knee to meet your left tricep. It's okay if it's not touching. It's okay, you can get as close as you possibly can. If the knee is touching the tricep, I actually encourage you to try to bring it off just a centimeter, a little hover. Press down through your hands, find the space between the shoulder blades, and then step left foot in between your hands. Inhale, rise into your low lunge, maybe little roll of the wrists. Then start to knit ribs towards your hip bones. Think about squeezing your heels, your left heel and your right knee towards one another as you press the hands forward and find space between the shoulder blades, right? Not retraction, but protraction of the shoulder blades. Hands will come down to frame your left foot. Lift your right knee off the ground. Start to step yourself back into your plank position. Inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower your body. You can always drop the knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, knees tap, hips rise, downward facing dog. Good. Take a few deep breaths here, letting your head drop below your heart. The head is the voice that kind of likes to think in black and white. The head, it makes more sense for it. It wants to know what's the right way, what's the wrong way to do something. The heart is that kind of more spiritual part of us that can be in the in-between. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out. And then inhale, breath, look forward, step right foot to right hand, left foot to left hand. As you inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soft knees, inhale, rise up, gaze to your thumbs. Exhale, hands to heart, and then to your side, Samasthiti, at attention pose. Take a breath here in between your movement. We'll be moving into Sun Salutation A, linking breath and movement. So each movement has a half breath with it. Inhale, rise your hands up, extended mountain pose. Exhale, soft knees, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to your shins. Exhale, step yourself back into your plank and lower your body. This is all one exhale. Inhale, find the back bend of your choice. Exhale, knees tap, hips lift, downward facing dog. Maybe that knee tap in between up dog and down dog is a little new for you. It's okay if it is. We used to not drop the knees in between up dog, down dog because the yogis said that we would lose prana, life force, if we did that. But we've learned that biomechanically that doesn't really make sense. So it helps to take some weight out of your lower back. If it's new to you, just try it on. Try it for a couple rounds. See how it feels. Be in the in-between. Be in the newness of it. On your next inhale, look forward, bend the knees, lift the heels. On your exhale breath, step, hop, or float feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, soft knees, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart and to your side, Samasthiti. Inhale. Exhale, fold, let it all out. Inhale, halfway lift, gaze to the top of the mat. All on one exhale, you can step back like we did, or you can take a hop back, landing with your elbows bent in chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, knees tap, hips rise, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in between here. Notice if you're dumping your weight into the base of your palms where they meet your wrists. See if you can press into your fingers. Find length through your shoulders. Maybe you do one of those hand push-ups to kind of test yourself. Deep breath in. I am inhaling. Exhale. I am exhaling. Notice if the mind's getting loud. Come back to the breath to bring yourself into this in-between that is your practice. You can always step forward, or invitation on your next inhale to bend the knees, lift the heels. Step or hop or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise, gaze to thumbs. Exhale, hinge from hips, let all the air out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step, hop, or float to the back of your mat, landing with your elbows soft in Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, shoulders lift. Exhale, knees tap, hips lift, downward facing dog. Can I find the in-between? Notice if your mind goes to label, I'm good at yoga, I'm bad at yoga. I like this class, I don't like this class. What would it be like for me to be in the in-between, in the holding of both, in the nuance of it all? Inhale, gaze forward, bend the knees, lift the heels. Exhale, step, hop, or float, feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, root to rise. Exhale, hands to heart and to your side, Samasthiti, add attention pose. We'll be adding on now. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step, hop, or float, back of mat, landing with elbows soft and core engaged. Find your full exhale. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Exhale, tap knees, lift hips, downward facing dog. So from here, adding on your inhale breath, lift your right leg up. We'll point through the toes. So really squeeze through your right glute to lift the toes up. This is your inhale breath. On your exhale breath, bring your right knee towards your right tricep. Now it's just like what we did earlier, so you can always drop the left knee if this is getting to be a little bit too much for you. But ask before you drop, is it sharp pain or is it discomfort? What would it be like for me to hold in this in-between? See if you can, rather than just dumping the knee on the tricep, think about sliding skin from your right elbow up towards your right shoulder. Yeah, you're lifting it up and feel your shoulder blades separate. Little protraction of the shoulder blades. I know it's hard. I know you want to kill me. Hold. See if you can hover the right knee just an inch off of the tricep and step. Good job. Inhale, we rise up to our lunge. Whew, good work. So this is our inhale breath. We find our lunge. Same thing as earlier, but with the knee off the ground. You can always drop it if you need to and need a little less fire here. On your exhale breath, you'll press your hands forward to find space between the shoulder blades. On your inhale breath, bring your hands down to frame your right foot. On your exhale breath, walk the hands forward, lift your left leg up. We find up splits. So if the ground is quite far from you, you can always bring a block in to bring your hands to meet the mat. From here, wherever you are, we'll take an inhale breath, squeezing the left glute now to point the toes and lift the left leg higher. On your exhale, bring the left knee into your nose. Inhale, send the left leg high. On your exhale, bring your hands down so you can bend in your right knee as much as you need to get this to happen. And I'm going to hop my right foot back just a little bit on the mat. So in that moment, all my weight was on my hands for just one moment, right? Just a second. With the hands down, we're going to find those lift and leans that we did in tabletop, where you inhale, lift the heel, exhale, come back. Now the heel might lift a centimeter off the ground, or maybe it lifts a couple inches, almost like your heel is stacking over the ball of the foot. From here, you can step yourself back through your vinyasa, or if you want, The right foot, almost like it's coming onto a little roller skate, slides down the mat and you land in your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips rise, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, big breath out. There is a space in between the stimulus and the response. In that space between lies our ability to choose our response. In that choice lies our freedom and our growth. Taking the other side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, hold here. Keep pointing through the toes, squeeze through left glute this time to lift the foot up. So this is our inhale breath. Exhale breath will bring the knee to the tricep. This will be the longest one that we hold, okay? Trying to point through left toes, slide the skin up from left elbow to left shoulder, like you're trying to lift. You're pushing down through your hands to lift up. Find space between your shoulder blades. See if you can hover the left knee off of the elbow just a centimeter, and then step, left foot in between your hands. Inhale, rise. Little softness in that back knee. We find our lunge. Hips square to the front of the mat. Deep breath in. Exhale, push the hands forward, protract the shoulder blades, find space between. Inhale, hands come down. Exhale, slide your left foot back a little bit. Inhale, lift the right leg. Good. Hands can come to a block. We'll breathe here and up splits for a few breaths. So we're trying to point through the right toes, squeezing through the right glute to really lift that foot higher. Let it be imperfect. Let it be new. Let it be messy even. Option to bring the hands down to the mat, right? So even if we're not hopping back, right? If you start to be like, oh, this is where she does that thing where we hop to the back of the mat, I'm not doing that, right? You can still stay with me. So rather than can't, say what part of this can I do? Can I get my hands to the mat? That is a challenge, right? Can I bend my knee and get my hands to the mat? Breathe here. Can I do one lift and lean where I put a little bit more weight in my hands and lift my heel and then come back? From there, you could step back and lower your body through your vinyasa. If you want, you could lift as high as you can, lean, 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 and try to send the left leg to the back of the mat, landing with soft elbows, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, knees tap, hips lift, downward facing dog. So trying to slow down that transition just a little bit to find the space in between the poses, right? What's important is not only how we do the poses, but how we move from pose to pose through the transitions of them. You are in the heat of the practice, the fire of it, tapas as we call it. You're in the main in between, right? The meat and potatoes of it. This is where change happens. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, but beautiful in the end. So you know the poses, starting to link them with our breath a little bit. Here, inhale, right leg lifts, point the toe. Exhale, right knee to right tricep. Inhale, step the right foot through and rise. Exhale, push the hands forward. Inhale, both hands come down, left leg lifts. On your exhale, we take our vinyasa, which is lean, lean, lean forward. Try to find that little space between. Exhale, float it back. Inhale, upward facing dog, knees tap, hips rise. Exhale, downward facing dog. And maybe it even feels a bit easier to move faster, right? Rather than holding those poses and really being in the in-between. Now that we link one breath and one movement, oh, wow, it's over so much faster, right? Because it is hard to be in the in-between. But you've done the hard, you've prepped the body. Now we link breath and movement. Inhale, left leg lifts, point the toes. Exhale, knee to tricep, press the mat away. Inhale, rise up, lunge. Exhale, push, find the space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, hands down, right leg lifts. Exhale, take your vinyasa. That could also be stepping back and just going right to down dog. If you're tired of the vinyasas and you've had enough, this is always an option, okay? We're gonna move through that again, linking breath and movement. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to tricep, slide the skin up. Inhale, step right foot through, rise. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, left leg lifts. This time, add the knee. Left knee into your nose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, take your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, hips rise, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to tricep. Inhale, rise to lunge. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step, hop, or float. We exhale to lower. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, hips rise, downward facing dog. Drop your knees for a moment, flip the palms up, find your breath. So vinyasa is the practice of linking breath and movement. We're building heat in the body, fire, the element of change. Right? Fire changes a solid into a liquid into a gas. We have to be willing to be in the fire of our becoming, of the in-between. The famous author Glennon Doyle says, "Everything I need next to become the woman I am meant to be next is inside my feelings of now. If I resist extinguishing them 1,000 times a day, and it is hard to be in the feelings of now, to be in the in-between." Hello, strength. Hello, change. Meet me back in downward facing dog. We'll move through our sequence one more time, linking breath and movement. Inhale, right leg lifts, point the toes. Exhale, knee to tricep, slide the skin up. Inhale, we rise to our lunge. Exhale, find the space between the shoulder blades. Inhale, hands to the ground, lift left leg. Exhale, knee into your nose. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, step, hop, or float back of your mat. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips rise, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to tricep. Inhale, rise lunge. Exhale, press hands forward. Inhale, hands to mat, right leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step, hop, or float back of your mat. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, hips rise, downward facing dog. What do you think, guys? Can we do it one more time? I think we can do it one more time. We're starting to get the rhythm of it. Press into your fingertips. Find those, remember, flexors of the wrist joint to take weight out of the wrist. Hello, strength. Hello, change. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to tricep. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, right leg lifts. Pause here, point through the toes. We're gonna find a little pulse. Yeah, you can let it be fun, right? You can let your practice be fun too. If there's a little movement that calls to you, handstand's always an option here as well in this transition. We'll bring the knee into nose round.
Inhale, send left leg up, lean, lean, lean forward. Try to come up as high as you can on that big toe. Maybe find that float to the back of the mat, that little space between. Inhale, last side. Exhale, lift. Good job. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, knee to tricep. Inhale, rise, lunge. Exhale, push. Inhale, hands down, right leg lifts. Exhale, right knee into nose. Inhale, lift, and we hold. Find that little pulse. So a little softness in the left knee, and you're trying to just lift the right foot up like 3 to 6 inches. Finding the squeezing of the right glute to do so before taking your vinyasa. Lean, lean, lean into the left big toe and float to the back of the mat. Inhale, upward facing. Good job. Exhale, we'll find a child's pose. Forehead to the mat. Deep breath in. Big breath out. One more. Deep breath in. Big breath out. From here, bring yourself into a seat. Let's come into Malasana, squat pose. But I want it to be somewhere where you can watch, maybe even feel at ease. So if this position, Malasana, is not easeful, you could support yourself with a block or even come to a seated variation of it, like this. And if you're looking for a little bit more sensation, maybe in your glutes, you can try to create a little space between your knees and your triceps and hold here. Good. So our peak pose for the day is crow with a little transition. You've probably done crow before in your yoga classes, right? Oftentimes, I see people come into crow with the retraction of the shoulder blades, just getting there by any means possible, kind of dumping their weight. And then they say, my triceps are bruised, Rachel. When I do crow, I can do it, but my triceps are bruised. And that's because this is very different from this. You can see the lift up, because what I did was I protracted my shoulder blades, pulled my belly into spine, and pointed my toes. So you don't have to do the full variation of crow. You can pause this video and play around with it, and you can stop and get off anywhere on this crazy train. But I'm gonna have a couple options for you. So option number one is you come from your squat into a higher hip position. Can I get my hands on the ground? Remember, what part of this can I do? Can I keep my hands active and on the ground? Can I tap my knees to my triceps and then come back? So you can do the little lift and lean where we lift the heels, come on the ball of the foot, and then come back just like we did in table. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Keep pressing into fingertips. Option to take that, hold on the lift. So to bend in your elbows like you're thinking chaturanga, but then find a roundness, a protraction of your upper back. Pull the core in. And you can hold it right here and pulling all the things we've been working on, finding that space between the shoulder blades, right here versus here. And you'll feel the difference between dumping and lifting, okay? If you want, from there, in that position, you can lift one foot. Maybe you lift another foot. If you're feeling pretty good here, you could try crow push-ups. Like, what's the difference between coming low and coming up high, right? You can play around with trying not to fall out, coming low, coming up high, pointing the toes. Maybe there's opportunity for you to try to hover one knee off the tricep, leading into half crow. We bring our weight over, we try the other one, bringing knee just to hover off the tricep. We start with that core activation to just find a little bit of space. I'll switch so you can see on the other side. Right, I find my crow, Stable position, rounding of the upper back, space between the shoulder blades. Can I try to shift my weight and try to hover the knee just a little bit off the tricep? Then I squeeze the glute, point the toes to lift for half crow. Ardha Bakasana. So pause the video, play around with it. Make sure to take care of the hands. Little shake out, roll out when you need it. Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out. Once you're finished playing around with your peak, employing all of those things, right? Pressing into fingertips, protracting shoulders, pointing toes, squeezing heels to glutes. Find the space between your shoulders, and we'll meet in a forward fold. Flipping palms up, stepping feet onto the hands, bending in your knees as much as you need to make that happen. Take a deep breath in and a big breath out. Good job. You did the hard work, creating heat and fire. You breathe through. Found the space in between. What is it like for me to be in the in-between? Little power outage, but we're okay. From here, slowly begin to release your hands from your feet. Cross at your ankles and make your way into a seated position. Check on the time. All right, from here, a back bend might feel nice. After doing all of that protraction, it might feel nice to do a little retraction. So let's move back and forth on our sit bones to start. So hands come to shins. Inhale, stretch front body, look up. Exhale, chin to chest and round. Inhale, chest forward, look up. Exhale, find that space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, we'll start to bring the elbows down to the mat. Sit on your hands and puff up your chest. So finding the shoulder blades towards one another in retraction. Straighten out your legs. An option for fish pose here. Maybe you keep the chin tucked in the chest and look forward. If that doesn't feel right in your neck, to drop back. Matsyasana, fish pose. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together. Breathing into your chest. And then make your way onto your spine. So since the wrists are also pretty warmed up, if your shoulders feel open enough for it, we'll have an option for wheel pose. Bringing the feet in, if wheel's not feeling like it would be good in your body today, listen to that, and you could take bridge pose, interlacing the hands behind the back. If you want to take your wheel, fingertips come towards your shoulders, elbows up, hands a bit wider than shoulder width distance. And then we'll begin to come up into our wheel, pressing into feet and hands, pressing weight up and back. We squeeze through the glutes, breathe into the chest, and slowly tuck the chin into the chest and lower down. Meet on your back, letting knees knock in towards one another, and hands come on body. Find a little space between that pose and the next. And notice your tendency. If you're the kind of person that has the tendency to rush, to go, come on, let's get to the next pose. What are we doing next? Maybe sometimes we rush to the next thing without fully being in the in-between.
We want to slow down enough to make sure that our decisions are being made from a state of grace and strength that requires us to sometimes be in a state of not knowing, of discomfort, of patience, of in between. And start to let the knees drop from side to side, just finding this windshield wiper action. And then hugging your right knee into your chest, straighten out your left leg. You'll start to let your left hand guide your right knee over into a supine twist. Root down through your right shoulder blade. So try to keep your right shoulder on the mat. You might notice that as you root down through the shoulder blade, the knee lifts up. And then as the right knee presses down, the shoulder blade lifts up. You can see it in my body. Shoulder presses down, knee lifts up. Knee presses down, shoulder lifts up. And in that little seesawing motion is the yoga pose. It's the stretch. It's an interweaving of opposites, a pulling apart. And each pose has a rooting point and an anchor point. Each stretch. We can think of the root as our past, the reach as the future. Allow yourself to be in the in-between, to find the present. Slowly begin to unwind, hugging both knees into your chest. Thank your body for everything it gave to you in this practice and that it gives to you every day. Thank yourself for taking the time to do something good for your body and your mind. And then straighten out your right leg, hugging left knee in. Right hand will guide your left knee over and across. Left hand comes out into that goalpost position, rooting down through left shoulder, reaching away through left knee. And we find that in between, that pulling apart, that interweaving of opposites. Starting to slow down your breath. Softening the muscles of the face and jaw. And letting the breath bring you into this in-between, into the present moment. Your breath is always our gateway to the present. If we follow it, inhale, I am inhaling. Exhale, I am exhaling. And then that breath is gone and we're already on to the next. Begin to unwind yourself, hugging the knees into chest once more. Letting feet drop to the mat and then lengthen out away from you. Taking your Shavasana. Inhale, I am inhaling. Exhale, I am exhaling. Notice if the mind tries to pull you into what's next or what was before, and use your breath to bring it back to this moment, this in between. If the mind wanders off, don't be angry at your brain for doing its natural job of thinking. Rather, just guide it back to the breath as many times as you need. In Tantra Illuminated, author Christopher Wallace writes that most cognitions trigger another related cognition. This happens so quickly that we cannot perceive any space between them. But we can perceive it at the end, what we call a train of thought. When we can begin to find the space between thoughts, it is often experienced as a kind of coming back to yourself, a natural return to the greater awareness of yourself and your environment in the moment you're in. It is this space between that provides the opportunity for self-reflection, for choice, for freedom, and for growth. The yogi is the one who cares to pay attention to the choice, the space between. The yogi seeks to prolong the space between thoughts just a little bit. Slowly begin to deepen in your breath. Allow this deepening of your breath to make waves of movement in your body, maybe a wiggle of the toes or the fingers. And rolling over to a comfortable side in a fetal position on your side. Just enjoy one more breath in between your practice and the rest of your day before pressing yourself up into a seated position where we'll meet in easy pose Sukhasana with our hands at heart center. We'll end our practice by sharing a deep, full breath together. And bowing your forehead into your fingertips, sealing in your practice. May we honor the space between. There's a breath, a light, something in between body and mind that exists within me. That same light, breath, love, and in between exists in each of you. To that within one another, we say Jai Bhagwan. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for being here, for practicing with me. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Bree and Matt, for watching this.